Hi everyone, Miss Fisher here, and today we're going to be reading Night School, written and illustrated by Loris Linsky. Eddie, 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 go to bed. I've told you 90,000 times, his frazzled mother said. But Eddie wasn't sleepy. Just like every other night, his brain was rocking and rolling, and his eyes were nickel bright. Eddie was a night owl. He loved to stay up late. There has to be a place for me. Now wouldn't that be great? And sure enough, he found one on a list of special schools. Sign me up, said Eddie, for some better bedtime rules. And so, one evening later, Eddie didn't go to bed, but got aboard at 9 o'clock, the night school bus instead. He recognized a kid or two he knew from down the block. They zoomed along the silent streets and then rumbled to a stop. The night school lights were blazing. The door was open wide. Delighted and excited, Eddie rushed to get inside. A brand new batch of night owls, said a teacher all in black. Eddie shouted out, "Hello!" but no one nodded back. It was just a little different from the school they had before. The chalk was made of coal dust, and there were sparkles on the floor. The books had nighttime tiles. They were all night lights on the walls. And that was that, an all-night party going on across the hall. First of all, they studied owls, then light bulbs, then the moon. They had such fun with werewolf howls that recess came too soon. Recess was at midnight. But instead of playing ball, the children watched the late show on a TV in the hall. Everybody Eddie knew was probably in bed. All his friends, his mom and dad. He pictured in his head the teachers from his other school, in nighties fast asleep. Imagine Gus who drove the bus, in his PJs counting sheep. "This is great," said Eddie to the children passing by. "Nighttime is the right time," was the glassy-eyed reply. There were lots of nighttime topics for the stories they could write. They studied just the animals that stayed awake at night. Eddie was dismayed at lunch to feel his eyelids closing. He started on his sandwiches to stop himself from dozing. "A sandwich," snickered someone. "What a daytime thing to eat. We get our snacks from La La Max, the nightclub down the street." The playground was as dark as mud. The air was cold and damp. Each kid got a miner's hat, a flashlight, or a lamp. Back in class, they learned the nighttime spelling words by heart. They were only nighttime colors for the paintings they had in art. Then 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and tick and tock and tick and tock. Eddie sighed. This night school has the planet's slowest clock. His eyes were getting scratchy. His head was full of sand. He felt too zonked to sit up straight, too conked to lift his hand. What was that? So creepy in the shadows on the wall. Eddie felt so sleepy he could hardly think at all. I wondered when it's morning, Eddie yawned behind his backpack. A new kid said the bad word, someone shouted in the back. "New students to the office," said the teacher with a glare. The children wobbled to their feet and started up the stairs. The second floor was even more peculiar than the first. The third was cold and clammy. The next one smelled the worst. Was Eddie just imagining the ghosts along the walls? Were there monsters in the corners, sulking low against the walls? The last floor was so scary that they didn't want to stop. But the principal was looming in a doorway at the top. "You're just the kind of kids we want," he said with a fervent glee. "I'm pleased to say your future looks as dark as it could be. Now you'll all go to school at night and get to sleep all day. Your dungeon rooms are ready. This is where you'll stay." But, said Eddie, "but what about our friends? Our other school, our homes, our rooms? You mean this never ends?" Eddie started backing down the hall. Dark and dusty hall. "The night school is a fright school, not a proper school at all. It's just a hoax to make our folks agree to let us come. Let's go," he cried. The kids woke up. And broke into a run. The creatures who were teachers cried, "We have to have you here." The race began, the children ran, their hearts a-thump with fear. Grabbing, snatching, monsters close to catching them for good. This was like a nightmare. Eddie led the best he could. Then suddenly, a brainwave. Eddie wanted to rejoice. He shouted out, "Good morning!" in his most sunshiny voice. The nighttime creatures halted, ghastly faces all too near. "Never, ever," came the whisper. "Do not use those words in here." The grabbing stopped, the snatching stopped. They whimpered in retreat. And the children hurtled home along the early morning street. Home at last, Eddie found his parents at the door. "We missed you so. Oh, please don't go to night school anymore." Exhausted, Eddie nodded. Exactly what he said was, "Mommy, Mommy, Daddy, Daddy, let me go to bed. I beg you 90,000 times. I could not want it more." And sleep he did get that day and night till life was like before. So Eddie's back at day school, and he goes to bed at 8. Soon he'll find a better way to stay really late. He's glad he's not at night school, but every now and then he wonders what they're doing there, and then goes to sleep again. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story about night school. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.